Frags and Beer family. Welcome to Frags and Beer Radio Live. This is season 2. So a little bit of context, you may not have seen this show in the past. I used to do this show pretty regularly for a couple years where we talked about the latest news, technology, geek news, etc., etc. I used to have guests. Sometimes I had a co-host. And the show kind of fell off. I just didn't have time to do the show. I didn't have time to prepare it. There was actually more work involved than I expected, or that I was wanting to do with the way things were going. But recently, some changes to my websites and hosting, etc., has caused me to retire fragsandbeer.com. Again, time, effort, and frustration. I used to be hosted on GoDaddy, so I'm going to put it out there right now. GoDaddy's support, their cost structure, and their general customer service has fallen off over the last couple of years, and I've had enough of it. So I've been moving all of my sites. I've been moving different things, and I made the hard decision, which I have been thinking about for a little while now, but I made the hard decision to retire fragsandbeer.com. But I don't want to stop talking about, geek stuff and current geek culture and gaming and comics and writing and TV and I don't want to stop talking about that stuff. I don't want to stop writing about that stuff. So I will still be writing a lot of my articles. I'm going to try to recover a lot from the old website and move some of the good stuff to Medium where I do some of my writing. I'll probably anything big and new, I'll probably push there as well. But here is where I'm going to talk to you guys about basically the week in review for us geeks and anything that might catch my interest and maybe catch your interest. So we'll talk about those kinds of things going forward. That's what this show will be about. It's a live show. I am watching the chat, so if you guys have questions, you want to make comments, cool. Let me know what you think. Ask questions. If I miss something or get something wrong, please let me know in the comments or in the chat. Excuse me. Before we get too far, make sure you click the subscribe button. Join the Frags and Beer family. I want to get to 1,000 by April. That's the goal now. We're at 806, 807, somewhere around there. So push us to 900 ASAP. I'm going to give away 9 copies of my novel, either ebook or audiobook. And when we get to 1,000, I'm going to give away 10 copies of my book, including some physical copies. So stay tuned for that. Get us there as soon as possible, and you can get a chance at getting Embers of Liberty, a physical signed copy of that book sent to you from me, personally signed, kissed, touched, whatever, sent to you, personalized just for you. So that's the goal. Keep pushing it. Keep clicking that button. Check the video description below too. There's some other ways to support the channel to get us new equipment. I need a new camera. I would like some better lighting in here, that kind of stuff. So supporting the channel through thebeardstruggle.com or Geek Grind Coffee or our merch store would be fantastic. So check that stuff out too. So today we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to get started first with today has been a big, awful day when it comes to celebrity passing. It's we were shocked, we were rocked when Betty White passed shortly before her 100th birthday. Betty White has been with us for a long time, and she has been, I don't think there's a person alive who's old enough to have watched TV who doesn't know who Betty White is or watched movies. She was a huge part of our lives, part of my life growing up. And so she passed, a couple weeks back. And then today we lost Meatloaf. If you don't know who Meatloaf is, go look him up. Big singer, songwriter, rock icon out of the 70s and 80s and early 90s. He was huge growing up for me as well. And then we also lost Louis Anderson. Fantastic comedian, iconic voice. He was a voiceover guy. He was on so many comedy shows. He did so many movies. Very funny dude. And both of them, passed. I don't want to say early. They had full lives, but they passed relatively early when you compare to like Betty White, who was with us for, almost 100 years. Speaking of Betty White, definitely check out, if you've got Netflix or can get a look at it, check out the documentary they released about Betty White. It's a fantastic watch. It has a lot of great stuff in it, a lot of laughs, and I think it's a wonderful memorial to Betty White, being the comedian that she is. I don't think she would want people to be too sad about her passing. I think she always wanted to make people laugh. You know, and I feel like Louis Anderson would be the same way. You know, if you want to honor their passing, go pull up their songs, go pull up Meatloaf's catalog, go pull up some of Louis Anderson's appearances on talk shows and, you know, in TV shows and skit shows and stuff. And the stretching dog back there. That's their life. They lived their life to entertain, to make people laugh, to make people feel good. So in their passing, do that. And I think that's the best way we can honor them and remember them and cherish them is to experience the things that they left for us, their legacies that they have left for us. So I wanted to talk about that as sort of a somber note to begin the show. That's a huge impact to the music community in the comedy entertainment community recently. That's huge. Moving on to other topics. Remember, boys and girls, NFTs are a scam. Recently, I've been talking about this on Twitter for a while. NFTs are a scam. I'm not going to get into cryptocurrency. Some of it seems to work, some of it seems to not. It is a huge risk. It is a huge gamble. I think for the most part, people who think that they are going to get rich on crypto are a little naive. If you get lucky, it's like stock. If you get lucky, you could probably get rich on crypto. But I think the vast majority of people are not going to get rich on that. And NFTs to me are an even bigger scam, like an even bigger, it's literally nothing. You're literally paying money for nothing so that you could advertise that you have nothing for the duration that nothing is hosted wherever it's hosted. I do see potential, and I want to make sure that I'm fully transparent about this or looking at this from all angles. I do see that technology having a use. I think that in the case of like concert tickets, for example, right now I go to a lot of concerts. My wife and I like to go to local concerts and big concerts, and we've got a couple coming up. And there's several companies. This is the worst one. There's a company out there that, for example, in my city where we go to a lot of concerts, there's the Civic Center. There is a company who has set up a website that looks like the Civic Center website, and their name is similar to the Civic Center name and logos and all that. And what this company does is, as soon as a concert is announced, they go buy a bunch of tickets, and then they turn around and put those tickets on their website and jack up the price and pretend to be the Civic Center selling these tickets. And if I had not just recently checked ticket prices, I probably would have been fooled. It was a while back when I went to buy tickets for a concert, and I found them like, why are these tickets like $30 higher than what they were advertised as? And then I finally figured out what was going on, and I found some other people explaining how that particular website works. So ticket scalpers. I think the NFT technology could be used to secure concert tickets and prevent people from scalping them. Maybe. I don't know enough about the technology to know if it could, but it sounds like it could. But the idea of selling an image to a person that they don't actually own, you're not selling it. Let me take that back. The idea of selling a link to an image to a person, to me, doesn't make any sense. An image stored on a website that's really not that good of a quality of image anyway, stored on a website that's only there for as long as the website exists, and you're really buying a receipt that says you own the token that points to it. You don't even own the image. You own the token that points to the image for as long as the image is hosted wherever it's hosted. If that server goes down, you own a token that points to nothing. If the company that hosts that server goes out of business, you own a token that points to nothing. And you paid a lot of money for it. Or you scammed somebody else into paying you a lot of money for it, and then they own a token that points to nothing. Doesn't make any sense to me. But the funny thing that I just saw today on Twitter is Twitter has now introduced this new PFP icon shape hexagonal thing for your avatar on Twitter, where you can link an NFT from your wallet or your blockchain or whatever to your Twitter account, and it will show it in this little hexagonal shape. So you can advertise to the whole world that you got scammed into buying this NFT. But what I find super funny about that is somebody has already figured out that you can cheat the system. Not only can you right click and download any NFT because it's just an image stored on a website and you can download any image you want, you can then mint that image just like an NFT, and the Twitter upload, whatever, does not verify that you actually really own that image, that the token to that image. And so you can not only steal somebody's NFT, steal it, download it, but then you can upload it to your Twitter profile to make that your, look at me, I've got it's just, that cracks me up. But again, boys and girls, say it with me. NFTs are a scam. Don't buy them. All right. So I just thought that was funny. I wanted to share that with you. When I saw that, that cracked me up, and something that I wanted to talk about. All right. So we're going to talk about some gaming news, some things that have happened over the course of the week that you might be interested in, that you might want to check out, some things that I thought were interesting, or I thought you guys might think were interesting. They announced on the 19th, so 3 days ago, they announced that the Nintendo Switch version of Dying Light 2, they're calling it Dying Light 2 Stay Human, the cloud version, was supposed to release on February 14th. It's been moved to a later date. So if you're looking for that date, I'm checking the article again because I keep seeing February 4th, 2022. February 4th. They do not announce the date followed by the release of the, so it's been moved to a later date. All other platforms remain the same and are locked for February 4th, but the Nintendo version will not be out February 4th. You guys are gonna have to wait a little longer. As far as I can see, there is no confirmed date for Dying Light 2 to release on the Nintendo Switch cloud version. So stay tuned to the publisher's website, and they may have more news soon, or if I spot it, I may update you guys as soon as I see it. So if you are interested in Dying Light 2 on the Nintendo Switch, you're going to have to wait a little longer than everybody else. High Rise City. So this is an indie city builder game called High Rise City. It's from Deck 13 and Focus Entertainment. It's a German company, as far as I can tell, based on the video, featurette video that they actually have. So if you check out their website for High Rise, they're actually going to start playtests on January 27th. Now, this is a city builder similar to City Skylines or SimCity. I did watch the video, so you can go to their website and watch their dev videos. I watched the one about the latest. And one thing that I noticed is the graphics, at least in the video I watched, were not super high res. And that just may be the nature of the video they recorded. But what I did find very interesting is how close you could get to what's going on in your city. I remember when I played SimCity or when I played City Skylines, you could get kind of close to like a building and you could kind of see people moving around and cars driving around. But this one, like, they were showing people at a dockyard with trucks and ships and stuff, right down to people getting in and out of the trucks and people with clipboards walking around. Like the level of detail they put into the really minute view of the city was pretty impressive. So if you like those city builders, if you like those, Sim Cities or City Skylines type games, go check out Deck 13's website. Let me see if they have specifically, Their official website is, let me make sure I give it to you. Oh, of course, this link is not working. So the link in the press release is not working, but if you check out spotlight.deck13.com or highrisecitygame.com, probably better off going to highrisecitygame.com. You can check out the information about the playtesting and get involved if you like those. I mean, why not hit it up if that's your interest? It sounds like you can try this game for free. It looks like, yeah, closed beta test on Steam, which will start January 27th and run for 2 weeks. So, yeah, go sign up, check that out, and, you might find a new game that you love. So, could be interesting. Another bit of news that I saw that I thought was kind of cool for those of you who like old school and indie games. Apogee Entertainment is going to be publishing a remastered version of the Rise of Triad on PC and consoles this year. Rise of the Triad was, how old was that? 1995 from 3D Realms. So a really old game. I don't have a lot of information as far as what it's going to look like, but they have their website. You can check out, where is the link here? Studio's official website. So it is coming from 3D Realms, but also Apogee Entertainment. 3drealms.com. That's 3 is the number 3drealms.com. But go check that out if you're interested in old games or if you're a fan of that game. That remastered version should be out. Do they even give us a date? They just kind of say this year. They don't give us anything more specific than it will be releasing later this year. So we're probably looking at third or fourth quarter 2022. But yeah, cool. I remember that game. I never actually played Rise of the Triad, but I do remember it from back in the day, and it was one of those shooters that, up there with Wolfenstein and Doom and those types of games where it was, is one of those that it is considered sort of important to the genre. So it could be cool to check out, especially if you like checking out older games. Give it a look. And the last bit of gaming news that I wanted to bring up that kind of stood out to me, and only because I'm familiar with other titles, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Extraction is now available on the Ubisoft Store for all platforms. It actually released yesterday. I looked a little bit at the video. I actually haven't heard much about this game. And it's more along the lines, what it looks like anyways, more along the lines of Rainbow Six Siege, but co-op involving aliens rather than terrorists. My washing machine is out of balance. Hopefully my kid... Okay, sounds better. So it looks a lot like Rainbow Six Siege, but with aliens and co-op rather than a PvP sort of experience, I think. So it's definitely different than any of the other Tom Clancy games. It looks like they're trying something a little new and a little different. Kind of an interesting video. You can check it out on their website and see if it's something you'd be interested in. But just in case you missed the release, because I didn't even know it was releasing, it did release yesterday, and it's available to you. So that's about it on the gaming news. The only other thing I wanted to talk about today is what we've been watching. My wife and I, we watch a lot of movies and TV shows. We have a lot of downtime in the evening where I might be working on a writing project and she's working on some jewelry, and we'll pop a show on. I really enjoy movies. So I want to talk about what we've been watching recently in TV and movies, things that have stood out to me and things that have stood out for the wrong reasons, basically. So one of the movies that we watched recently was The Eternals. And I have to say, I was disappointed. It's a forgettable movie. It's a forgettable franchise even from Marvel. Like, I was kind of surprised when Marvel announced that they were going to be doing The Eternals. You have to be a pretty devoted Marvel Comics fan to even know about the Eternals. They're not commonly, they don't have an ongoing series. They don't show up all the time in other people's, other groups' books. They're just it was very surprising. So when the movie came out, I thought, we'll give it a shot. And I have to say that it's probably one of the lowest tier Marvel or MCU movies that they've put out. I would definitely put it at the bottom of the barrel with, Captain Marvel, what the Hulk movies. It was not good. It was, I guess, for lack of a better term, it was forgettable. I didn't like the characters. I didn't find any of the characters interesting. All of the acting was very stilted. It was just very bland and lifeless. The effects were a little bit cartoonish in some places. So if you're trying to stay on top of all the MCU stuff just to sort of as a collector mentality, just I gotta see them all, I guess. I mean, I didn't hate it, but it just wasn't like I won't watch it again. I've no desire to watch it again. I'm curious to see what they do with Black Knight after this, but if they were to do another Eternals movie, I probably wouldn't care at all. On the TV front, we have been watching a show, and I guess this isn't, I don't know if this is a new show or not, but we did pick up on a show called Archive 81. Very interesting sort of suspense thriller, kind of pseudo, not quite horror, but kind of suspense movie or show. Very cool. It's got a slow start, but it sets up a very intriguing mystery. So if you're looking for one of those shows that's sort of like not horror, not like in-your-face gore type horror, but kind of that kind of unsettling psychological kind of thing going on, it'd be a good show to check out. I think you would find it interesting, but it's one of those shows where you got to give it a couple of episodes to get the hook. It starts off a little bit slow and confusing, but it does set the hook, and it does present a very cool mystery that you're gonna want to. I want to know more. Another show, unfortunately, I believe this is the last season. The Expanse, a show that used to be on regular TV and then it moved to Amazon Prime. That's another show also that started out a little slow. My wife actually, she watched the first couple episodes of the first season and didn't care for it. And I actually watched season 2 and 3, I think, all on my own. And then she got hooked on it again later. So we wound up going back and watching all of the first ones. This last season has been very good. I think the show really developed well, and I don't know how true it is to the books. I haven't read them yet, but I do plan on reading them. The show actually makes me want to read them, but I would say it's probably one of the best sci-fi shows I've seen since Battlestar Galactica. And yes, I'm going to say it, I think the remastered Battlestar Galactica was better than the original, as far as a drama series goes, and I think The Expanse is probably almost up there, because I could rewatch BSG probably over and over again and not get tired of it. The Expanse, I don't know, I haven't tried to rewatch it more than once, but fantastic show. And I'd have to say Amos is the best written character, one of the best written characters on TV today. So if you really like good writing and interesting characters and great sci-fi, The Expanse, if you have not checked it out, you need to check that show out. It's fantastic. Another big one that people are talking about that we have watched the first season of, and is kind of like you got two different camps on this one, is the Wheel of Time show. I have not read the book, so I'm not a huge fan of Wheel of Time, and I have no real investment in the characters and the way they're cast and what they look like, because I know that's a big sticking point for a lot of people, is they don't like the casting or they don't like what they did with certain parts of the story. I didn't read the book, so I have absolutely no vested interest in any of that stuff. I can tell you the show is slow. Some parts were interesting. Some of the world building was interesting. I wanted to know a little bit more about the dragon and the magic. But at the end of the day, I didn't really find it that interesting. You know, we even skipped weeks. Like there are some shows where we watch every week when it releases. That show, I think we skipped a couple weeks and wound up watching a few episodes back to back just because I didn't have to watch the next one. It wasn't one of those shows where it's like pulling me in. So, you know, I really don't know. Like, I didn't hate it. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't. I guess it was. I think it was trying to be more than it was. Um, you know, it was trying to get up there with like Game of Thrones and stuff, and I just think it missed the mark on a few places, and it was very slow going. So take that for what it is. Again, I didn't read the books, and I know the books tended to be a little bit lengthy. From what I've heard, a friend of mine, my brother read them, and a friend of mine's read them, and they both said, yeah, they're very long and drawn out and lengthy, sort of slow going reads. So maybe they were just trying to match the tone of the books. I don't know. And one of the other shows that we finished not too long ago that's also still available and should be watched is The Witcher. It was good. I like season 2 was not as good as season 1. But it was still good. And I love that they developed the Ciri character a little more. I think I know the show is The Witcher and everybody wants to see Henry Cavill and his, you know, grimy biceps, but at the end of the day, this story is about 3 people for the most part, and they are following the books, not the video games. So when it comes to the story that's in the books, which I also have not read, but I do plan on reading, but I have brushed up a little bit on the way they're developed. The show is good. It is entertaining. It is great effects, great costuming, great combat scenes. I really enjoyed the story development between all the characters. I'm looking forward to season 3. There are a bunch of featurettes that I highly recommend watching on Netflix. Along with it, there's a couple of creature featurettes. There's a character feature. So there's a lot of little shows that go into like sort of the behind the scenes stuff and kind of gives you some of the lore and the background and the character or the development of the show itself, which I think is really cool. I think watching that stuff was very good. To sort of expand on the experience of watching the show. Other things that we're currently watching, obviously, the Book of Boba Fett. I'm enjoying it so far. I'll let you know what I think when the show's over. And that's about it. That's all I've got for you today. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I see there's a couple, 3 people in here. That's very cool for our first show, season 2. Again, this show, I'm hoping to do it once a week. I may miss a week or 2. It really depends. And here soon I'm going to come back with some game streams. So check out the other stuff on the channel. Make sure you're subscribed. Let me know what you think. And again, if you have questions, if you have things, or if I missed something, if I got something wrong, please do let me know in the comments. And I hope to see you guys all again soon on the next one. You guys have a